Welcome to Go Gettas podcast, but we haven't decided yet, but we're doing. I'm Colby.
And I'm the man with the plan with the gun in his hand. You can call me Fee.
Oh no, Fee. Fee, it happened.
What?
You've turned into him.
I had to because of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, here we are. This is the first time. Mark it down. First time in Go Gettas history. We're going to talk about one of the topics we put in the title within 2 minutes of starting.
We're on topic. It's very off-brand for us, but we're doing it.
Yeah, I'm surprised, but I'm totally here for it.
It's because I'm hyper-focused right now. Like, I don't know. I just stopped playing that game, so it's fresh in my mind. And once you told me we were going to talk about it, I was like, okay, we're going to talk about it.
Well, why don't you tell everybody the experience that you just had today?
If you don't know, if you watch the show and you don't know, or you listen to the show and you don't know, I stream on Twitch, and I play games. I'm a variety streamer. I do that. Mm-hmm. The game I chose today is a game that came out, what's today, the 28th?
Yep.
Came out 6 days ago. And nice. I was really excited about it. It's called Gungrave Gore.
Gore, and it's G.O.R.E. Just in case the title of this game needed to let you know that it was conceived in 2002.
Yeah, I don't know what the acronym is. And I don't think anybody does. So I was like, oh, I've heard of Gungrave. I remember that anime from back in the day, and I remember there being a PS2 game. Mm-hmm. And I remember I've never played it, never seen it being played, and I'm like, if this is a sequel, I'm like, okay, whatever. It looks fun. The trailer was like ultra violent, made it seem like Devil May Cry, and I'm like, I'm down with that.
Yeah, that's it. And that, to be fair, you take a look at the like the UI elements and the art direction and stuff. It looks like Devil May Cry too.
Yeah, it's very Devil May Cry-esque. Like, it's Devil May Cry light, I guess I should say.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about this game because Colby was watching me play it, and it's, spoilers, not a good game.
Not great.
It's not.
People have been saying, they've been asking me over and over. They say, "Hey, what do you think is going to be game of the year?" And I tell them, we don't know until the end of the year comes. There may be a sleeper hit. It could be Gungrave. Oh no!
Oh no! Oh yeah, that's how I felt when I played the game. Now, Colby probably didn't see the beginning of the game when I started.
No.
And so you get into the game after the little cutscene, and you get into the game. The cutscene looks nice, and there's some violence, a lot of ultra. I'm like, all right, here we go. And then the first level is a tutorial level, and they teach you how to shoot and dodge and jump and stuff. And it's very basic. Right trigger, shoot. In unlimited ammo. Don't even have to worry about it. B button melee, jump. You're shooting guys. After 2 rooms, I realize it is just walk and shoot. You don't deviate from the function. You just walk into every room and shoot the whole guys. Shooting gallery game. And you don't take a lot of damage, and your shield is like really strong.
Yeah.
And that's the whole game.
Yep.
You walk from room to room and shoot just a galleon of enemies.
Just 1 gallon, a gallon of milk of enemies.
What exactly 1 gallon full of bad guys. And that's the game. You don't do anything else. That's all you need. There's no other weapons. There's just you get a special attack. And I guess a pseudo what's it called? Like devil trigger mode. And that's it. And
my favorite part was whenever you got into a level and then you jumped, and I went, I've been watching you for half an hour. I didn't know you could jump. Because you just didn't. You didn't have to. You were just walking at enemies and they died.
Yeah, you just the worst part of the game is you would think that you hold down the trigger to automatically shoot, right? You would
Mm-hmm.
think. No, I have to like fucking flick the trigger like like pressing a button, but the
Mm.
trigger. I have to give myself carpal fucking tunnel.
Oh my god. So like they
And
don't have like an auto shoot option?
no, they do. You have to flick the trigger 4 times in succession, and he'll go into what's called burst mode, where he will like hop up and down, and like automatically shoot, and you use the right trigger to aim, but it's not accurate, like really. And
That's terrible.
and he stands still, and he can't move. So, just forget all the big mechanics. The thing you'll just be doing is just pressing the trigger constantly, and I'm like switching fingers because like my fucking my trigger finger is
Mm-hmm.
like hurting after a while, like, and it's falling asleep. So then like I moved to my middle finger, and I'm like, fuck, dude, like my hand was like hurting like after every level. Like when I took it off the control, I was like, fuck, dude, fucking hands asleep. And I'm like, why would they design this way? And then there's a lock-on mechanic that like barely kind of works, but you don't need to use it because the game auto locks when you're close to enemies.
Mm-hmm.
When you just like look at the enemies, it just auto locks, and you don't have to even worry about like doing a lock on. And
I but but can you switch targets like
you
or
can when
okay.
when you're on the lock target, you hit the right trigger, and it'll like go side to side from targets. It
Okay,
just
because I was thinking about it and I was like, well, how do they do this in Bayonetta? And you're right. You hold down a button and Bayonetta just shoots.
yeah
And that's it. And so I was like, okay. But you can like switch targets in Bayonetta too. I wonder if they have acquired target switching technology in this game. It seems that they have. That's good. That means that
yeah.
this game is now bumped up from being made in 2002 to 2006. That's great.
Like, and the thing is, and like I was saying, so you didn't watch me in the at the beginning during the tutorial level.
No.
So I get halfway through, maybe like 10 or 15 minutes in, and like I'm taking my time because I'm like, well, if there's collectibles, I'm gonna look around. But like I'm like 10 levels in, there are no collectibles in the game. You just walk through the levels, just destroying everything and
Mm-hmm.
killing anyone that comes at you. And then you have like a Doom style glory kill, where when you kind of stun an enemy and you hit like you gotta click the L trigger when
Mm-hmm.
you're close to them, and you'll do a glory kill, replenish your shield.
Okay. Okay. So
But
yeah, like Doom Eternal, Doom 2016, something like
yeah,
that.
but not your health. And I don't know how to replenish your health. There's no health drops. There's no drops at all in this game.
Oh.
And like I would get low in health, and then I would like, okay, well now I gotta get behind a wall and like kind of kill enemies as they walk towards me, kind of like cheese them.
Mm.
But then somehow my health would replenish. And
Okay.
I
So
don't know.
there's something that's doing it. Maybe there's some like drops or something, or
No,
maybe it
there's
like replenishes over time.
I don't know if it's time. I think the amount of like, because on the side when you're hitting someone, it says beat, and that's like your combo counter.
Okay.
So I think if you hit like a certain number on the combo counter, maybe it replenishes your health.
Okay. Okay. So that kind of makes sense. I'm kind of into that.
But it didn't tell me that it does that. Like, or maybe I didn't like look into the because there's a guide, but like the tutorial was telling me.
I mean, okay, so here's the thing. Like I can forgive that, and the reason why I can forgive that is because you sometimes just blaze past shit and don't even ingest the information. You're like, yeah, okay, just let me shoot.
Okay, but like in the case of this game, I was actually reading the tutorial because to me the game felt like it was trying to be like Devil May Cry, and in Devil May Cry, like you do certain things to certain combos, or like I just wanted to know, like.
Mm-hmm.
so that way I could play the game like optimally, because I like games where like, oh well, like if you dodge you could jump off a wall, or like if you hit a guy, like, or if you hold the melee button, it'll knock the people into the air like God of War or something.
Okay, yeah.
So I was reading the tutorials and it just didn't say. But
Just didn't say.
what you can't forgive is, motherfucker, in the first level, I come to a room and I look inside of it, right? And I'm like, there's an enemy just standing on nothing. The floor didn't load in.
My God.
And I'm like, oh fuck, the floor didn't load in. And I was just like, ah. I'm like, I'll walk in and it'll probably load. There you go. So I walk through the door and I fall through the level. But the camera didn't follow me.
Oh no.
It stayed on the screen. And it didn't kill me. I just didn't die.
Oh no.
I was like, what the fuck? So I was like, okay, well, I'll restart my checkpoint. Because if I restart my checkpoint, it'll restart it'll reload the level. So I restart the checkpoint, and it loads me already in the ground. It loads me in the ground already through the floor. I'm back at the no ground level, and I'm not even on the screen. I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, no. I was like, no. I was like 20 minutes in the stream. And I was like, no. And then
No. This is fine. They've got like a previous check where like they're gonna pop me up any second now.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry about it.
So then I go back to the main menu and I'm like, well, maybe there's a chapter select or stage select. But nope, it's just stage select. And if you want to restart a stage, you restart from the beginning. So I'm like, well, I know what I'm doing now, so I don't have to read the tutorial. And like, good thing I just restarted the level from the beginning. And I was like, fuck it. I'll bite the bullet. I'm not far in. And hope that the game loads into level, or else the game's just broken and it's a small stream of me.
and then you know what? Gotta go, everyone.
So I load the level, I go through it, and here's, I guess, something intuitive. They didn't read the tutorials back to me as I was going through the level again. They didn't stop the game and ask me to do things. They just let me go plow through it. So I got through it pretty quick.
That's nice.
Get back to where I was. Level loaded, no problem.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so I get through the game. I beat the first boss, and I'm like, is this it? Walking and shooting, and that's it.
That's it. This is walk and shoot, man.
Until I get to the train level.
The train. Just get on the damn train, CJ.
No, that level. And I was reading in some of the reviews that like someone said you can't get past the goddamn train level. And I agree. I was there for like maybe an hour, maybe 30 minutes on the
you were there for half an hour, but here's the problem. Like, when I say, like, Fee was on this level for half an hour, you're like, well, I mean, when you play Elden Ring, you, like, fight the same boss for 6 hours sometimes. It's fine. But that's compared to the rest of the game, where it's literally 4 minutes between levels. Like, level starts, you spend 4 minutes, you kill a boss, you're done. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Like, this game before that was just walking through hallways, shooting guys as they come near you, and like maybe ducking for cover. Nothing big, nothing like hard. No skill involved. This motherfucking level puts you on a train and you're in a narrow hallway, and that's fine. But then once you get out of the first like 2 hallways, they're like, "Oh, grave! You gotta jump on top of the roof." And that's where the game becomes pure fucking, like, fuckery. Like, so, as you get on the top of the roof, like, oh, you're like, okay, I got this. And you're like, you're shooting the guys in front of you, and they're like, watch out, here comes robots above you. So, I turn the camera, and I'm shooting the guys, and I'm trying to move around so I don't get, like, shot. And, motherfucker, there's no walls on the side of the train, so you could just fucking fall off the train.
Yeah, just fall off. It's realism, Fee.
Oh.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, in real life, like you saw the movie Bullet Train. If you stand on the train, sometimes you fall off. It's just realistic.
But there's no cover on the top of the train, so you're like, everyone's destroying you. Like the system I came up with is kill the people on the train first, then kill the droids that are coming, because then it'll just drain you. They'll just fucking drain you. And sometimes people are just bullet sponges.
Yeah.
Like, you're just sitting there, just fucking you're just like pulling the trigger, like fuck. And they just won't die.
The whole time your carpal tunnel is acting up, you're getting scoliosis.
I'm just getting furious. I'm mad. And then, like, after I pass that first part and we go back in the train, I'm going through it. It's fine. Then we go back up to the top of the train where Colby was saying, you can jump.
Yeah. Just who knew?
At that point in the game, they start throwing, like, these stronger enemies at you. And not only are you shooting them, and you're on a time limit.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell me I was on the time limit. I had to figure it out. They're like, if you don't reach the end of the train, you'll hit the tunnel and die instantly and have to start again.
Yeah, that was my favorite part, is you were very close to the end of the game, and then you were like, there's a time limit? And I was like, close to the end of the level, I should say.
Yeah, to the end of the level.
And that's just rude. It's just rude to do that to someone.
Yeah, usually they'll put a timer, right? And then, like, I'm going through the game, and as I'm like dodging these signs that are coming towards me, and like I jump over the things, like the girl that's like, I guess my handler in the game's like, jump after I've already jumped.
Yeah, after Fee has already been jumping over signs and like starting to jump because enemies are shooting at him, the person on the microphone is like, Grave, you gotta jump! And it's like, where the fuck were you 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, no shit. Like, it's just, when I actually beat the level, when I got towards the end, I kind of just dodge rolled until like the point where where the end of the level was, hoping that I would make it and not die. And like I did. Somehow I did it. Just
amazing. It was a feat of gamerism like I've never seen before.
Yeah, I just had to like plant my feet and grit my teeth. And I was like mad because like then there's landmines that knock you off the train.
Yeah.
Oh, I was so mad. But like,
yeah,
this is just a bad game, and it came out like a few days ago. Next gen, it is not a next gen game. Like,
no, I mean the thing is like the graphics in it are passable.
Yeah,
like they're passable. Yeah. They're not great. Like
as long
this
as you
does.
Don't look.
Yeah, as long as you don't look at it, as long as you don't look at the game, it's fine. It's more like so imagine that you have some friends, right? And your friends are like, "Oh, we're gonna spend the weekend doing a game jam. We're gonna make a game in a weekend. And we're gonna bust our asses and really get it done. And we're gonna make something that's like Devil May Cry." This is what they would make. Like over the course of 2 days, this buggy, kind of stylish, but mostly vapid mess is what they would make. And you would be like, wow, that's really cool for 2 days. But the fact that like a bunch of people spent time on this is embarrassing.
Yeah. And you know what this game reminds me of? I don't know if you know that SNES game where like it's an Old West shooter and you're like that guy or the girl and like you're moving sideways and like you're shooting. Fuck, they
is
remade
it Sunset Riders?
No. It's like you're not. It's not like a side scroller. Like you're just on the screen and enemies are like running towards you, and like you're like shooting. Shit. Hold on. Let me Google it.
Is it Wild Guns?
Yeah, Wild Guns. It's like Wild Guns, but instead of just at a screen standing and like moving your cursor, you're like moving your character forward and everything's coming at you. Just, ugh.
Yeah, they were like, this game, they started making the game and they were like, man, do we have to have this game in 3D? Because, like, we don't need the other D. We could just do the 2.
Yeah,
And
we can
the
keep it
studio
at-
was like, no, you gotta have the 3.
Like, the thing is, so, there's 2 prequels to this game that came out on the PS2 that play the exact same way. So, they just...
Yeah, and I do remember that people really liked those.
Yeah. Well, because, so, like, they didn't throw as much shit at you, and it wasn't as janky. It was just kind of clunky with the controls, because, like, just weren't there yet.
Yeah.
But it plays the exact same way. You get unlimited ammo, and you're just in shooting galleries. But,
Man.
I was really mad at it, but then, like, I come to learn that the creator of TriGun made it. And I was like,
God,
oh,
you told
man.
me that, and here, okay. This is what I had, when you told me that, I said, we have to talk about this on the podcast, because this is a bad game, and now you're telling me that the creator of TriGun made it, and I looked it up, and you are correct, and you ever just, like, see, like, you really enjoy one piece of work that someone does, and then you go, and you take a look at another piece of work that they do, and you go, oh, you really do just have the one idea, don't you? It's just the one idea. This is just TriGun again, though.
Yeah. and like, so, from what I'm, like, there was a canceled TriGun game for the PS2 that probably would have played like this.
It would have been the same.
Yeah, and you know what? It would have been fine, because, like, TriGun, I mean, we know about TriGun. No one knows who the fuck Gungrave is. There's a 24 episode, like, I guess, what is it? What is it?
OAV?
Yeah, an OAV, 24 episode of Gungrave. But, like, that's it.
But 24 episodes cannot be an OAV. That's a series.
Well, it's a series. It's just,
or an OVA, sorry.
But it was created after the first PS2 game.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I don't know, like, the story's, like, really whack. And, like, what I heard someone say, the story's just set dressing, because the game just really wants you to have fun, like, just murdering people.
I have to read a couple of things, because I just pulled up this manga. Number one, do you know what Graves' full name is?
Wasn't it Brandon?
His name is Brandon Heat.
Yeah, Brandon Heat.
And they also call him Beyond the Grave.
Yeah, Beyond the Grave. That's his after he was shot name, because he lost his memory. And now he's Beyond the Grave.
I want to read you this sentence, because the sentence made me laugh.
Okay.
After being proven by a special assignment recommended by Harry, his affiliation with Maria, and risking his life for Big Daddy, Brandon began to move up the ranks of the organization. So you say that Brandon risked his life for Big Daddy?
Oh, yeah. Fucking Brandon.
Fucking Brandon.
Brandon Heat.
Yeah, that's Brandon and Harry and Maria.
Yeah,
Brandon.
Maria, yeah. So I read that the creator of this took a lot of inspiration from the movie Desperado.
Yeah, the creator, whose name, coincidentally, no relation, is Brandon. It's not. That would be very good, though.
He's like, I don't know where I got the inspiration from.
Who knows? Who could say? Who could say?
But so, like, he took inspiration from the movie Desperado, in some aspects, like, because I think some of, like, the special moves are called, like, demolition, but he wanted to call them desperados.
Okay.
And then there's a move where the guy pulls because he has a big coffin on his back.
Yeah.
He pulls the coffin up and shoots a rocket launcher out.
God, he's just got the one idea. It's just the one. It's the same idea.
It's just TriGun with
it's
the
just
different.
TriGun. You did Trigun again.
Yeah, he just did Trigun, and the art styles are very similar. Like even the guy kind of looks like Wolfwood.
Yeah, he's like, okay, if I was like, oh yeah, there's this anime and it's starring a guy. He's got a big gun and he wears a cool coat and he's got a big triangle upper body and he also wears glasses. You'd be like, oh, that's Trigun. I'd be like, no, it's Gungrave, but I forgive you for mistaking it for Trigun because they are the same.
Yeah, and the Gungrave, he uses 3 guns. Well, 2 guns. Well, 3 because the coffin's technically a gun. And he has the Cerberus guns, which stands for 3, but a bad guy has the middle head of the Cerberus guns, which is stronger than the other 2 guns I was reading.
That's good. No, that's great.
Yeah,
we love how strong these guns are.
God,
They lift weights and they're very scary.
They're what?
Brandon's
legendary?
very strong guns.
I don't even know where he got them. Like the lore is what? Who cares about the lore, right? Who cares? As long as you get to kill guys, it kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus, except it plays worse.
Man.
Like, oh no.
Dirge of Cerberus wasn't even good. It was just fine. Like the problem, so Dirge of Cerberus had a number of issues because like for those of you that don't know, Dirge of Cerberus was like a Final Fantasy sequel game, which meant Final Fantasy VII sequel game. Meant it was very important because like 10 years after Final Fantasy VII came out, they said, well, we're going to come out with Advent Children, we're going to come out with Crisis Core, we're going to come out with Dirge of Cerberus. And Dirge of Cerberus was all about Vincent, who's objectively the coolest character in Final Fantasy VII if you're 12. And so
the coolest looking character.
Oh, for sure, by a country mile. And so you're like, yeah, let's play this cool game about Vincent. And number one, the story is excuse me, it's so ass. Actually, I couldn't even say ass. The story is ass, and it makes me very sad that the Final Fantasy VII remake DLC is incorporating some of the lore from it. I hate that. Not a fan of that. Please, let's minimize that.
That's because Dirge of Cerberus is canon.
Yeah, I know, but I hate it, is the thing. They should have asked me. They should have come and been like, hey, like, is it cool if we just put, like, Angeal and Genesis? I'd say, no, it's not cool.
Not cool
Stop
at all.
it. So, yeah, like, that game, it's Vincent running around with a gun and you shoot a bunch of people. The controls are not that great. It's not super responsive. It's not like, but it's not groundbreaking, but it's playable. It's okay. You can get through it.
And it's good to look at. It's really good graphics for PS2.
Yeah, for PS2, it was really good. It was made in a time whenever everything was like desaturated and looked like it was like, part of like an old 90s haunted house cartoon, but like that's fine, okay? Everything was brown.
And what was cool about it was like you get to see the Final Fantasy VII characters like in updated graphics.
Mhm.
So like stoked about that.
Yeah, big draw. And then you take a look at Gungrave and you go, well, this is the same but worse. And in fact, the fun fact, so Dirge of Cerberus, when it came out here in America, was changed. In Japan, Vincent has one big jump. But in America,
we got double jumps.
We got 2 little half jumps. And that was my favorite thing, because there was one part toward the end of the game, like 3/4 of the way through, where you had to jump on something and you just had to know how to like jump at the height of your jump in order to get the max jump. And I was like, I really wish I had that one big fucking jump now. That would make everything so much easier.
Yeah.
But here I am stuck with my dumb little American double jump.
I wonder why they gave us a double jump.
Because they said Americans liked it. Like I read an article about it that said that they like did research and everybody was like, "What can Vincent double jump?"
Everyone was like just fresh off of Devil May Cry, and they're like, well, "He double jumped."
Yeah, hey, all the other games in which like guy with gun runs around, has double jump. Why Vincent? Vincent has superpower.
Yeah, Vincent's strong.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you see at the end of Advent Children? They jumped like a mile into the air.
God.
I know you hate that.
Like, but just anything else. Just pick another thing. God, you didn't have to make it Advent Children that was that. You could have been like, this is... Pick a franchise I don't give a shit about. Like, I don't know. Tekken. Pick Tekken. Be like, this is the Tekken movie, and they throw each other up in the air for 5 miles, and it's great. Well, okay, great, cool.
That would make sense. But Tekken did come out with an anime like this year, and it was good. So.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Nice.
So I'd say don't do that to Tekken. Do that like what's a series like we don't care about? Just
that. Here's the thing. It's hard for me because I was gonna say Street Fighter, but I know you care about Street Fighter.
I care about Street Fighter.
Like that's the thing is I have to the series that you and I care about are different. Like I can't say Mega Man because I know you're okay with Mega Man, and I'm okay with Mega Man 2.
Yeah.
Shit.
Fuck.
How about Strider? Strider?
Yeah, I haven't played the game. I hear it's good, but I don't care about him enough to. Yeah,
get fucked, Strider.
Yeah, fuck you, Strider.
Thrown up in the air 20 million miles.
Oh shit. Oh god. So we're going from like one janky game of shooting, and just I would say go play it if you have Xbox Game Pass. It's free. Don't pay $50. That's how much it is. $50.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Get Game Pass and play it. Like, we're not sponsored by Game Pass, but I live and die by Game Pass because like games will come out and I don't have to pay for full price. I could just play them free and I love it.
Yeah. Go get a Game Pass. Chuck it their way, and say hi to Vash the Stampede.
say hi to Bash the Rampede. I don't know.
It's different.
It's different. It's so different. So we're going from one jank shooting game to another beloved game that came out that was also jank.
Mm-hmm. So
Colby, take it.
Yeah. So this last 2 weeks, Pokemon came out.
Yeah.
So Pokemon has been having like kind of an interesting development time in the recent history, and this like brings up a really interesting like cultural phenomenon, but like we'll get into that. Basically, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has come out, and before this, a game called Pokemon Legends Arceus came out, and it was a game that changed how Pokemon is played at a fundamental level, not at a conceptual level, but fundamentally. It wasn't turn-based. You like ran around and threw Pokeballs out in the wilderness and caught just like dozens and dozens of Pokemon for no reason.
Because you were making the first Pokedex, so you were filling in all the information.
Yeah, but you don't need to capture more than one, right? Like you got one. You don't need.
Look, if we're talking in real life terms, yes, you only need one. But in this game, like you have to fill a quota. You got to catch like 12 Pidgeys to like. Yeah,
it's not even so you catch the first one and then they're like, great, go catch 5 more, and you're like, why? And they're like, well, we got to study it more. And I'm like, but you have the one. And they're like, sure. It's almost as if you're handing the Pokemon over to them and they're like, yeah, go, great, catch 5 more, because we did kill this one. It's fine, we didn't mean to kill it, but you do have to go get more.
We weren't gonna tell you, but we do have to dissect the first one always.
Yeah, always. And in fact, the next 5 that you get, we are gonna turn into a milkshake. So like after that one, get 12.
Look, how do you think we make these fancy clothes? Just fresh Pokemon fur. Peter was right.
It's all true. It's all true.
Like
in Star Wars.
In Arceus, you get sent back in the past when you got a cell phone.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, you just like you go catch Pokemon, different regions, and the
you just wander.
Yes. The main problem with it is that the game could have the game could have dealt with some more time, but that's not even a good argument. Like, so the common argument is like
more like dev time or
more development time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the reason why, there's two major reasons. So
oh god, yeah, we talked about
I'll say three actually. So like there's a number of times in Pokemon Legends Arceus whenever the camera will zoom in on someone or a building or whatever, and the texture for that particular thing is still the low resolution texture. Like it looks like a picture taken on your mom's old cell phone that they put in the game. And you're like, you don't notice it at first, but then like the longer that you stare at things, the more that you're like, oh, come on, like you couldn't have picked that up.
Like I hear there's a lot of popping and the frame rate issue if like a Pokemon is like you see it in the distance and it's like move like it's fucking it's stumbling through just jam.
Yeah, so this is like this is a common video game thing. Like whenever you're developing video games, you have to conserve your resources in order to have a good frame rate. Like it's easier to have a higher frame rate whenever you have less to draw. And so in order to do that, there is a thing called like pop-in or culling, right? So how far can your character look and see a thing, and like beyond that point, it doesn't exist. Like you stop trying to draw it because your character can't see it. And how do you deal with that? Like what does it look like? In fact, if you take a look in most video games, so if you play Fortnite, I noticed this in Fortnite last week. If you get like a sniper rifle and you zoom in, you get up really high and you zoom in across the map, you'll see really, really large, very low polygon things. Like there will be a building that is literally just 4 squares and it looks ugly. And that's because it's really easy to draw that from where you are and you're not getting up close. So what you do is as you get closer and closer to a thing, it gets higher and higher resolution. So it has more triangles, it has better textures, all that stuff. And there's different ways to do this. I'm speaking as if I've ever done this before, but like I know enough.
Saying when you kind of know, if you've been gaming enough, you kind of just pick up some of these terms, even like with us, because we've been gaming like since the 90s and like we grew up with like Super Nintendo, and then as we moved on to like PlayStation, just these are just terms. Colby probably knows more because he actually codes, so he knows some things.
True.
But like when you're playing stuff, you hear like terms tossed around and then you just do research on it, and then you do research on why are these things happening. So then you just kind of learn as you play. You're like, oh, that's happening because of like pop-up or draw distance. Like one of the more popular ones is Silent Hill 1, where it had pop-ins and like draw distance, but it made sense because the game is supposed to be foggy, so the fog covered up the pop-ups and it made it kind of more scary because it's a scary game.
Yeah, there's good ways to do that and bad ways to do that. Good ways to do it, Silent Hill. Bad ways to do it, Superman 64, which took the exact same approach as Silent Hill, which is just make everything foggy.
Yeah, everything's just foggy and a flat texture.
Yeah. So like Pokemon Legends Arceus, the way that it is dealing with that is if something is far enough away that you should be able to see it, their compromise is not like, oh, the model is going to be like lower resolution, it's going to have lower textures on it. It may still do those things, but the thing that you immediately notice is that it's only got like 10 frames of animation. So like if your game is running at 30 frames per second, you can literally count the different frames of animation. So if you're like, if the game is being drawn 30 times a second to the screen, during that time period, maybe 2 or 3 of those frames have a different thing for the thing that you're looking at. And it's super jarring. I can't tell you how like immersion breaking it is to be like in this, because the reason why I wanted to play Legends Arceus is because I was like, oh, it's like Breath of the Wild but Pokemon. I love Breath of the Wild and all my friends like Pokemon, so maybe I'll like this. And I wanted to enjoy the atmosphere of like the game and like climbing around and like doing cool stuff. And it's just like you see a Gyarados off in the distance and it's just moving around like I don't know, like an old 90s Flash cartoon, and you're like, that doesn't match every... Oh,
it kind of looks like that thing that you spin and you put the light in the middle, and then you just look at one frame, and then you see the frames go.
Yeah. It's actually a lot like that. And the... So, like, they decided to take the Pokemon Arceus formula and mash it up with the traditional Pokemon formula for the new game. So, like, it's an open world game that you can run around in. You battle in the open field. You, like, touch a Pokemon, but then it has a... it triggers a turn-based battle. But there's also, like, auto-catching or auto-battling, so you can just have your Pokemon run off and beat the shit out of things in the wild, which is, like, good for it.
Less XP, though. Less XP.
Less XP, true. But you can, like, hop on... Like, they have a bike, but it's a Pokemon. That's dumb.
Yeah. Does that Pokemon ever get used for battle?
No.
That's stupid.
So the reason why they explain this in the lore, it's legendary. That's a legendary Pokemon. But it's very weak. Like, just because it's legendary doesn't mean that it's very powerful. It's actually extremely weak. It just... It can carry you around, and that's it.
Yeah, it can fly. It can become a jet, or it can be a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Or just run on its like little footsies.
On its little feet. But yeah, like it's great to see this very awful bike. And I'm not like... Clearly, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm like the traditional, like Pokemon battle stuff, like, you know, okay. And it's just they kept the same thing. It's like I watched the scene in which like my wife's character walks into their new classroom, and the camera takes a look at the class, and like 3 of the students are doing an identical animation, and it's not the same frame rate as the rest of the game, and all of them have like low polygon textures and stuff. Like some like the thing is, it's not consistent. It's like, oh, the vest is low, is like this bad texture, but like everything else looks fine. And it's like, what is happening? Like, it's almost as if they like... It's almost as if they made the game and were like, yeah, we still like can't quite hit the performance, you know, that we want to get. The Nintendo Switch is like kind of underpowered, and you know, we don't want to like mode. Yeah, we don't want to go and like we don't want to have lag spikes. We want to have like a consistent experience, which to be fair, they do still have lag spikes. And so they're like, you know what, let's just put it through a piece of optimization software that's just going to optimize stuff. And that piece of optimization software picked up the high resolution and low resolution textures and went, looks the same to me, and threw away the high resolution ones sometimes. That's what it seems like.
All this looks great to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's perfect, actually. And so like, that's how you get these situations where like, you know, the camera turns and sees a bunch of students doing the same animation, or they're like, some of them aren't animated very well. You get these lag spikes where it's like, oh, 10 Pokemon are on the screen. Uh-oh, time to fuck everything up. There's like glitches and stuff. The thing is, I'm talking massive shit about this game right now. I'm being fair to it in that I'm only saying the things that are bad about it. But I'm not lying about it. Like I'm not
sugarcoating it.
Yeah. Like the thing is, everybody who's playing it still having a lot of fucking fun.
Yeah.
So
I can't like really shit on it. I haven't played it, but like it's funny when like I go online and everyone's like posting their fucking glitches.
Yeah.
And then like people who don't play it are like, is this the game?
Yeah.
So like
people are like, ugh, this is disgusting. I hate this game. But then like the thing is, the Pokemon Company or Game Freak, I guess Game Freak is who makes the games. Like they don't have to do any better than that. Like I feel like I feel like Game Freak has gotten good recently at generating a Pokemon game and being like, this is good enough. People are going to have fun. People are going to enjoy it. We've come out with new Pokemon. We've come out with new ways to interact with your Pokemon that we like. And yeah, sure, like the animation is going to be weird sometimes, and sometimes like the pop-in is going to be strange, and sometimes you're going to see stuff that's far off and doesn't look very good. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
Here's what they did to this game. They gave the Pokemon textures now.
Mm-hmm.
So some Pokemon that are scaly, they have like a scale texture, and the furry ones have fur texture.
Yeah.
So that's I guess a plus. But like, if you ask me, my ideal Pokemon would be probably like a real good graphics Pokemon, like not like good, but like say this graphics, but running like well. But plays like the old games where you don't have all these crazy things that you can do, which causes pop-ins and like open world and shit. And you can keep open fields, but like I kind of like the region where you go town to town, then you have like the open in betweens and stuff. My ideal Pokemon is like a good graphics of that, and then have your Pokemon follow you, and you don't even like, because right now like the HMs are rendered moot because of like the traversal you could do with your legendary.
Yeah.
But like I kind of just want an open playing game like that where you can interact with your Pokemon, and I want the Pokemon to not make the stupid noise. I want them to actually use voiceovers.
So instead of like the traditional game by
yeah, instead of like
yeah,
I want to hear him say fucking Geodude.
yeah,
Or,
from the anime.
Yeah, from the anime. Or my favorite Pokemon cry, actual like Pokemon sound that's not the game, is Fearow. And I don't know if you've heard it.
No, tell me, Fee.
It was on a Who's That Pokemon. And then they're like, who's that Pokemon? And you're like, you see the silhouette and it's Fearow. They come back and they're like, it's Fearow! And it's...
Tell me, Fee. What's it say? What's Fearow say?
No, that's what it says. Just...
Oh, good.
I'm gonna send it to you because I have it like saved on my YouTube.
So I'm like, as far as like Pokemon games go, this is like, there have been worse ones, there have been better ones, but like it seems like everybody's having fun with this. So like I'm not gonna shit on it until the day I die. I don't care enough. And so like if you're having fun with it, great. That's awesome.
Yeah, good.
I like, as somebody who doesn't care that much about Pokemon, whenever I see these things, I go, oh, well, this is kind of like a lazy thing that you've done here. Like, it's very clear to me that like your priorities were not in putting out like a polished game. It was putting out a game.
Yeah.
And
I have to say, I do like the aesthetic. They went more of like a Mexican kind of aesthetic with some of the Pokemon, not the people.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, with the Pokemon, because you have like one of my favorite new Pokemon, not because of how it looks, is fucking Flamigo, because it looks just like a fucking flamingo, but his name is Flamigo, and that's it. He has a dinky name, and he's a flamingo.
Yeah, and he dances, he shakes his ass. It's great.
Out of the starters, who have you seen the final Evos?
I have.
So who is your favorite out of the starters?
It's Weedcat.
God, I thought it was Quaxley. Thought you loved you some Quaxley.
No, he's good, but how are you gonna say no to a cat?
That's true. Like, so when I first saw the game, I wanted Fuecoco. Because he looks like a good little fire lizard boy. But his final Evo let me down hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't wanna carry him around. Although his second Evo is fucking awesome. He has a fire sombrero, but then he just turns into a fucking land alligator, and it's lame. That's why we vote Weed Cat in this house, because they turn into a magician.
Good old Weed Cat.
Look, I sent you the Firo. I want you to see it.
Oh, I'm not. Fee, we're in the middle of recording a podcast. I'm not going to watch it right now.
It's 2 seconds. Watch it.
I literally can't because of the way that my audio setup is. Fee. Fine. So,
yeah.
All this to say, here's an interesting parallel. Is my wife asked recently, like, "Hey, do you want to play some games tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, I like games."
I'm a good boy. I like games.
And so we started playing Overwatch 2. And
Ooh.
I had heard, the game fucking sucks. It's like it's 5v5. The battle pass is terrible, and you've got these new characters, but you can only unlock them at certain points, and blah blah blah. And we played Overwatch 2 for 2 nights now.
Yeah,
it's pretty fucking fun. Just like Overwatch. It's like Overwatch, but slightly different.
Yeah, people are really mad about the 5v5 because they can't meta game with like the 2 shields and the tank.
Yeah, it's hard to I will say. So I play every role.
Yeah, not
well, but I do. So I queue for every role, and sometimes, most of the time, I'm healer. Mm-hmm. I'm not very good at it, but I do it. And then every once in a while, I'm damage, and then every once in a while, I'm a tank. And I gotta say, the tank that I'm good at is Roadhog, and Roadhog is a hero that he can heal himself. He hooks enemy teammates to you to pull them out of position and kill them quickly. And he is he's got a pretty okay gun. That's his only powers. He can't defend anyone. He doesn't bolster anybody. He doesn't work with anyone. He just kills good.
Yeah, he's very good up close.
And so I play Roadhog because that's who I know how to play. And I gotta say, I feel bad when I pick Roadhog because I'm there's only one tank. And especially if I look at my team makeup and I'm oh, okay, we've got Hanzo, he shoots from far away. We've got McCree, he shoots from far away. We've got Ana shoots from far away. Oh God, I really should be Reinhardt, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna play Roadhog and hope it works out.
You can call me an asshole, but when I played Overwatch 1, when I was playing it, mm-hmm. I didn't care what the team makeup was. I'm gonna play the character I want to, even though people hated it.
Man, I got into Overwatch enough to not do that anymore. What I would do is take a look at what the team needed, who was killing us most, and then if it was I don't know, one particular character, I would try to counter them with a character that I could play that was like that. If it was, a particular paradigm or what, the double shield is, it's all right, well, I've got to work around that. So I was very into trying to play something good. The problem is when you do that, people expect that you know how to play that character. So I had the game sense to be oh, I shouldn't be playing Roadhog. I should be playing Zarya. Obviously I should be playing Zarya. And then I would start playing as Zarya and people would be hey, why do you suck so fucking bad?
That's why I just played Junkrat and didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Okay, so last night we're playing, and this guy with he was the tank on the other team. I was Roadhog, and my team lost, and we all did our GGs. And then this guy said tank diff, which is what you say whenever you're wow, I was a better tank than the other team. The whole reason why we won is because I was a better tank than you. Yeah. And I took that personal. And so I'm mad at this point.
Yeah, you're like, well, wait a minute.
I'm mad at this point that he has used his human fingers to type this in chat. I'm vindicated though, because then the play of the game comes up and it's fucking me. And so I get in the chat and I'm like, oh, everybody look at this tank diff. Oh, dang, what a tank diff. Jesus Christ, what a tank diff this is.
Got transported back to the fucking Modern Warfare 2 lobby. Just
God, it felt so good. Like I hate that like being an adversarial piece of shit on the internet feels so good sometimes.
It's so good, especially like when someone does that. Like when they do that, like it doesn't have to be Overwatch, but like Modern Warfare, like they're like, oh, we would have done something if it wasn't this guy, and then this guy gets play of the game, and you're like, oh, was it me?
Yeah. Oh, which like I'll be 100% fair. That's also some selfish bullshit, because they're like, oh, you could have been with the team. You could have been like assisting people, and like you would have we would have actually been able to win if you weren't being like selfish on your own. Like the amount of times I've seen a Lucio just like bouncing off the walls trying to get like clips that they could post on Reddit, and then their team loses because they're not healing. It's too hot. So like I get it, right? Yeah. It's just when it's me, go fuck yourself. Coming at me with that.
Especially because like this guy sucks, and you're like, you don't have the time to be like, hey man, like, because then you look like an asshole. I fucking work all the time. I only play like 2 hours a day, like twice a week, instead of sitting there like 8 hours, like 7 days.
Yeah.
Like, but it's so good though.
But like, that's what I mean is like everybody on the internet is shitting on Overwatch 2. And there's very legitimate reasons to shit on Overwatch 2. There's a lot of really bad things about it. Yeah. And especially
there's not a lot of change. I'd say there's not a lot of like, from what I've seen, because I haven't played Overwatch 2, just from what I read, they didn't like really put a lot of new levels in. They put Dane mode and Dark mode. They didn't, the PvE, I think it's not there.
No.
Some of the characters are locked behind what's it called? Game Pass. You have to input like your phone number, and some of the phone companies didn't work like at launch. Maybe they fixed it by now. Just to chat. God. Yeah. They did a lot of like strange like balance changing for characters, and then they didn't release like a lot of new characters.
Yeah, I think we've got 3 new characters, and I think we've got 3 new levels as well.
Yeah, and one of the characters was locked behind Game Pass, so you couldn't really even play as her unless you got Game Pass, or just outright bought her.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm also like, I don't know. I'm also like, because I played unranked, and it makes me wonder if like the changes that people are complaining about are just in ranked mode. Because like I am incapable of playing comp, because as soon God, okay, so we had a group of people that we were playing with, that we would play games with, and specifically Overwatch, and they would sometimes be like, oh, we should play competitive. And like me and like the 3 people, my wife and like a couple of other people that we like wanted to play with, are very rarely competitive people. Like we just want to like, just like Fortnite is kind of like the like young kids, we're just gonna get on Discord and fuck around and hang out and play this game. Like that's what Overwatch is for us. And so we were like, yeah, I mean, I guess if like, you know, only one of our friends only wants to play comp right now, or they're like, oh, the season is ending, we got to get our comp matches in, we're like, all right, fine. the whole dynamic changes because you have to like pay attention, and people on your team are counting on you to like, oh, I've got to get my win rate up. I'm trying to climb the ladder or whatever. And you have to like, there's a new dynamic of pressure that's put on you to like pay attention and do well. Whereas like, if you're just fucking around in quick play and you do well, it feels great. If you suck, you're like, it's fine.
Yeah. I think it's different, like for me, because I only play in like ranked, but not Overwatch, because I don't care about dynamics, so I just fuck it up. So I don't bother. But like Fortnite, I'll play ranked just because I don't know, anything else feels weird.
God.
Call of Duty, I play ranked, and I'd like to say I'm pretty good. I haven't played in a while, but I think I'm good enough to just be in ranked and be like thrown into a team.
Sure.
So,
and I mean, it's fine, but like, if you're using a game as like a social thing, and then somebody is like, no, you've got to pay attention to this game and do good at it.
Instead of fucking around, now you have to actually pay attention.
Here's the sentence that really broke it, because like, we were playing with like this group of people off and on, and like it was really fun whenever we were winning. But whenever we were doing bad, it was like, oh, fucking, you know, especially if you're in a team of 6. If you're in a team of 5, it's easy because you're like, oh, that sixth person sucks. And everybody shit talks that person. If you're in a team of 6, either one person has to be like, oh, yeah, I should have like hit my shots, or oh, I'm having a bad night or whatever. Or everybody has to be frustrated silently. And the thing that clenched it for us is we're in one of these matches, and we're doing pretty good. And I made a comment. I was like, man, it's weird. We're doing really good, and it seems like, I don't know, like this particular person on the other team doesn't seem like they're doing very well. Yeah. And the person that was playing with us was like, oh yeah, well, they're probably not paying attention and fucking around and talking about going to the mall with their boyfriend or whatever. And he said that, and I went, what? Like,
just
dog, fine. That's what me and my wife and our friends are doing. Like, we're doing that. We're talking about like, oh, we're gonna go see this movie. Oh, did you play Breath of the Wild? Like, we're talking about anything other than like, oh, the Hanzo is up on the roof, someone go take care of it. Like, just give a shit. Like, you could say some stuff like that to like be helpful in the game, but for the most part, we're like, you see the new episode of Chainsaw Man? It was great. And that's like that's the kind of gameplay that we're expecting. And that comment from him made us be like, oh, either A, you don't realize that you just made a very pointed, shitty statement about like us, or even worse, you do realize that and you just let it slip. Either way, I don't really want to play with you anymore.
Yeah, very, very, very bad Freudian slip.
Mm-hmm.
Just, oh no, you hate to hear it. Like, it's those kind of people, like, they're just like, because now you have all these different thoughts about them. You're just like, well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean that, like, he sounds jaded, like, oh, they're probably talking about having a life outside this game. I don't have one, and look at me.
Yeah, I'm focused, okay? When we're in here, this is a job.
Yeah, like, this is serious. Fucking serious mode. I don't like. These players like tick me off. Fucking talking about life outside of game.
It boggles my mind, you know, that
it's almost like he thinks he's getting paid.
Yeah, or that everybody is like here to like be the best. Like, we're competing for something now.
Yeah.
And I understand wanting to do like competitive and be ranked and like get rewards for it and like climb the ladder. I get those things, but to then be like, you don't have the level of commitment that I do and it's affecting me is like, dog, that's the whole premise of this fucking game. Unless you get 6 people together, that's always going to be the case.
Yeah, just 6 people at the top of their game, and like, this is what they do. They are like on a league, but like, we're just people that have free time. So
yeah.
I just I don't know, man. That's why I don't do Overwatch because I don't need a bunch of people like saying you gotta fucking play this character, and I don't know what the fuck to do with that character.
Yeah, they're like,
All
man, so I wish we had a hit scan. There's only two of us, and one of us is doing really well. So then they look at you and they're like, well, you got to go to like Soldier 76 or McCree, and you're like, what if I didn't? What if I just stayed Junkrat? Actually,
yeah, I'm like I kind of like just putting mines everywhere and throwing tires at people. I'm like
yeah,
this character's fun. They're like, but it's not helping the team. But I don't care.
yeah.
Just
Yeah. Here's my secret. I don't give a shit.
fucking, oh, I hate that.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. It's very frustrating to me that like whenever people sort of take that attitude and that's why it's hard to like play with someone like that, because like once they reveal that to you, once they reveal that like that's their mindset and that's how they've been thinking about things, then all of a sudden you're like, oh,
yeah,
you're probably a lot more mad at me than you're letting on.
yeah, you're probably like seething right now, but I just can't hear it. Just
yeah, you probably want me to fucking log off right now. You're like, I have to play with them because they're my friends.
like, just have a good time, man. I've played with you and your wife before in Fortnite, and it was always a good time. Like, I never expected you to fucking carry the team, just like I know you didn't expect me to. Just had a good time, man. Just that's the whole point. Just if you have like close friends and you have a shared game that you like playing, just have a good time.
Yeah.
This isn't. We're not going out for like an esports team. We're not trying to get what's it called, sponsored by something. Like,
yeah,
this is just fun. I think people just like kind of forget that sometimes you can just play games for fun.
Yeah, it's like, and again, that's not everyone, and even for the people that like, even for the people that do that, it's not, I'm not accusing you of doing it all the time, but like, damn, son, like, I just fucking cut me a break.
Although when it comes to like Street Fighter, I'm in it to win it, baby. I'm right there.
Yeah, the thing is that like Overwatch as a game, it's mandatory that you play with it. Like, you cannot win if you don't have teamwork or if the other team doesn't suck ass. Like, it's either you're working together and you're assisting each other, or the other team sucks so fucking bad that all of you on your own can just take them down. And so, like, whenever you keep losing because, like, your team isn't coming together and you're like, oh, I wish that this person would just do what I want them to do. And it's like, I'm sorry, dog, but, like, that's the whole game is, like, that's a frustrating part of it. And that kind of sucks, but, like, it's the game. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, I just can't, I don't know. That's why team-based games aren't my thing, because then people like rely on me, and I know like maybe my skills aren't up to the point, and then people are gonna be mad at me. That's why I strictly like single player based. Even if I'm like on a team deathmatch, it has to be a game where it doesn't matter like what role you take. As and we're not like an MMO, but like I guess just Call of Duty or even Fortnite, or even Fall Guys, I guess. You like, there's no roles. It's just you're with your team and you're playing, and it doesn't matter like if you're not so and so. So I guess that's all I have to say about that. Like, I mean, that's why I don't just
I'm in there with you.
I did play Overwatch with my cousin Tommy and Pete, and boy, Pete, I've never seen Pete be serious about anything other than Overwatch, about him being really upset. Like, and like I said, I just played Junkrat. He played Bastion, and we were playing ranked, and he was serious, and because like we were losing for a while, Like we had like consecutive losses like back to back, and he was getting visibly upset.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, "Hey man, it's cool," and he's like, "No." He's like, you gotta do better. You like, if you're gonna play Junkrat, you actually gotta do better. And I'm like, hey man, I mean, I don't really play Overwatch. I
Or
just
or no. What if we play at my skill level, because that's what my skill level is, and you stop expecting so much of me? Or we could stop fucking playing.
Yeah, that's kind of like the point where I was like, I don't think I want to play this game anymore.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm like, Overwatch isn't for me. It's just not. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of fine. It requires like a team to work together, or a team to not work together and not really care that they're working together. But whenever you mix those two things together, everything is fucked. One person is pissed off. Like, the amount of times that someone on our team is like, oh, I guess someone on our team is just asleep. Jeez, I wish I had healers.
It's akin to the game League of Legends, which is another game I will never play.
Oh, yeah.
Where people get like they anger because like you cannot be a new player in that game. You have to have it's like a you fresh out of college and the job wants you to have 2 years of experience before you can get hired. That's what League of Legends players expect you to have.
Man. Yeah, so we played League for like a very small period of time. Basically, like from my job at HEB, I wanted to keep like a couple of friends from there, and one of them, I was like, "What can we do? Like, it's a pandemic. What can we do to like be friends?" And she was like, "I play League of Legends. Do you want to play League of Legends?" And I was like, "Fucking no, but I will because you're cool."
Yeah.
And so me and I were like, I guess we play League now. And so for, I don't know, maybe a year or so, we would play League of Legends off and on. And God, there's so many times, like, while playing where, like, because the League thing is, like, if you screw up and you die in your lane, or you, like, don't help out someone, or you don't recognize the signals, they'll ping the question mark button on you to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Or in the chat, they'll be like, fucking... and it's like, you can block all chat, which is, like, the whole game, so, like, the other team can talk shit on you. It's blocked by default, so I never read all chat, but my friend would be like, God, someone in all chat is mad at you for doing something, and I'm like, oh, good, glad I'm not reading that. And so, like, it's a whole subgenre of gamer where they're like, you know, I'm playing this game, and I want to get better at it, I want to get good at it, and the reason why you get good at it is to be able to dunk on people and to prove people wrong and to like show, hey, I know what I'm doing. You can't yell at me. I get to yell at you. And that's just kind of like the cycle of League of Legends. Like, clearly whenever you're playing with friends or something, it's fine. There were still a number of times where, like, Haley, our friend, would be like, hey, Colby, you wanna stop dying so much? Be like, I'm trying out here. I only play one character, okay?
Well, it looks like you don't have your relics in check. Like, you got them all wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Before we even started, I was like, okay, pick a character for me. She was like, Garen is easy. And I was like, great, I'll play Garen. And then somebody picked Garen or banned Garen, and she was like, who are you going to pick now? And I was like, I don't know. Who am I going to pick now? Why don't you tell me? I don't fucking know.
Like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. There's like 70 characters in that game.
There's so many. It's honestly too many. Too many characters. It's like Smash Brothers Ultimate, but worse.
Yeah. Hey, I love Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah, I know. It's worse than that.
Oh fuck. Speaking of toxic behavior, I'm gonna segue us into our final topic.
Okay.
my boss, first of all, if you're new to the podcast, this is a thing I like to talk about, that my coworkers are very silly and not good silly. they are, oh man. So the other night I was talking to my boss, and don't go and tell him. We also tell the chat.
Don't. Hey, don't tell him. Don't tell him about this. Hey, boss, if it's you listening, get the fuck out of here.
I'm gonna talk about you. Which is to say, like, don't, like, I don't care. They say stupid shit, and I have to tell people, or like else I'm stuck with this information, and can't believe they're real people because they think I'm a weird person.
Mm-hmm.
But so the other night, like, and they come and talk to me, even though I don't like talking to them because they go on and on about stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, boss comes over, and this is a dance battle wife, you know.
Yeah, dance battle wife guy. Yep. Love him.
He's the one. He came up to me and was like, we're talking, and then out of nowhere he was like, now, not to be racist.
Which, boy, one day someone is going to present me with a sentence that doesn't end with something racist but does start with that. Hasn't happened yet, though.
Because, like, he premised it with, he's like, look, I'm not racist. I am not. And he was adamant about that. And then
listen, can I get confirmation? Everyone here, I'm not racist, correct? You have to say correct. Correct. Okay.
And then he was like, and not to be racist, but he was like, what did he say? Because we're talking about, like, I don't know what we're talking about. He was like, if a black person at night was wearing all black, we couldn't see them, right? I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, out in the street, I'm like, but like there's like street lights and stuff. I'm like, where are we talking? Like, are you in the country? I'm like, where are you? And he's like I was driving the other night, and this guy was crossing the road, and the only reason I saw him was because he had bright red shoes on. And I'm like,
what? That's
what?
Everyone. That's
yeah.
Everyone.
I'm like, and I told him that. I'm like, if it's dark, it's hard to see anyone if they're wearing all black. And he's like, oh, but it was like a black guy. I'm like, okay. And he was like, he's like, you're not getting what I'm trying to say. And I'm like, tell me then. he's just like, it's hard to, like, I think he wanted, like, to acknowledge that it's hard to see black people at night if they wear, like, black clothes because they're so black. And I just wasn't.
That's what he wanted.
That's what, like,
I can confirm based off of listening to this. That's what he wanted.
He wanted, like, just to he wanted us to agree with them. Like, yes, you're right. That's a thing that happens, and that's
correct.
A thing that
wow, we should make it illegal for them to wear black clothes at night.
Yeah, that's a thing that we all agree on, and
we all agree.
I kept pushing
Put it to
back.
a vote.
I was like, no. He's like, and he was like, and he was like jaywalking, and we're like, oh yeah, well, jaywalking's not, like, good, especially at night, you know, when hard visibility, whatever. But then he was just like, yeah, sometimes I kind of just want to pull up next to him and open my door and, like, fucking smash them with my door.
No, yeah, hell yeah.
Oh man, the look he gave me when I was like, yeah, fucking assault is fun, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
And he's like, hey man, he's like, come on, it's a hypothetical. I would never do that. And I'm like, but you just said.
You just said it.
I'm like, you just said it. And he's like, look, I'm not gonna really do it. I'm like, first of all, I'm like, why would you do this? Like, what good would it do? I'm like, and I explained, I was like, to me personally, I would never do it because it would, like, probably ruin my door, and I don't need my car, which is fucked up already, to be more fucked up, and I don't want to hurt someone I don't know who's just trying to get to the other side of the street. And he's like, it's just a hypothetical, man. He's like, you're looking in too deep. I'm like, I'm not really. I'm like, it's kind of like like the bad parts that you don't want people to see is coming out, and we're seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, look, this was all just a hypothetical. I would never do that, and I don't think that way. I'm like, okay. I'm like,
Okay.
okay, man. You know,
No, it's
like,
fine.
okay.
No.
Like, and I don't. I think he's been getting like he was angry, like he looked mad at me, but like he's been getting like kind of like uppity at me, like so
Mm-hmm.
like today I was supposed to work, but I took a vacation day because uh in my company, if you don't use your vacation hours, you lose them if you
Ah.
have like too much. So I was like, okay, well, I don't really want to take any of like my holiday weeks, because if you take a day off on like one of your holidays, then you won't get like the holiday pay will be kind of messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'll just take Monday because I fucking hate Mondays. So
Yeah. Feels very Garfield.
very Garfield, I hate Mondays. So I was just like, they were like, so what are you gonna do on your 4 days? I'm like, oh well, tomorrow I gotta go to Corpus, gotta go pick up a gift. Um and then I'm gonna stream, I'm gonna play a game, and we talked about that game. and, and I'm like, and then I'm gonna record for the podcast. And there were, then my coworker, the other one, bad movie coworker,
Yeah, bad movie take guy.
bad
Yeah.
yeah, bad movie opinion guy. He was like, why don't you spread that out? You're just doing it in one day. And I was like, how could I spread that out?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to Corpus to pick up a gift, and then I'm gonna come back home and stream for a couple of hours and be a podcast. He's like, but that's all just one day. I'm like, couldn't you stretch it out? I'm like, how? I'm like, that's 3 things in like one. I'm doing it all day, and I'm like, I'm gonna stream more than one day. And he's like, why don't you? He's like, what, are you gonna do anything else? I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't really like going out and doing anything. I'm like, there's nothing really I want to go out and do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and I've told you before, I'm like, I'm kind of just like being at home, and if I have to go out, I go and do stuff with my mom, and then I come back home. I don't really like doing anything. And he's like, well, why don't you go and try something new? Why don't you just go? What did you go and do? I'm like, because I don't want to. And then he's like, well, why don't you? And I was like, I'm like, Rob, I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I'm like, why are you trying to make me do something? I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And then my boss is like, hey, I'm like, hey, you're getting offended. He's like, hey, you're taking this a little bit too much. Like, your voice is getting like, I'm like, because he keeps telling me he wants me to do something when I keep telling him I don't want to do anything. I'm like, what does he want me to do? And he's like, hey, you're getting like heated. Your voice is raised. I'm like, because y'all are dunking on what I like doing. Like,
Yeah.
you feel like I live this sad life that I don't leave my house, and I'm telling you that I like chilling at home on my days off. I don't care what y'all do. And he's like, you're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say your life was sad. And I was like, well, you don't have to.
Yeah.
And then bad movie take for as bad as his takes are on movies, he's not a bad person. It's just like sometimes his opinions are a little weird. He's just like, let's just drop it. It's cool. And I was like, okay, fuck, fine. And my boss was just like, like this guy getting fucking heated because he's like a friend that's just looking for the well-being of you. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm like, what do you think I do at home? Just lay in bed all day?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think I just lay under the blankets until it's time to eat? Like, why do I have to be the bad guy for not wanting to go and fucking, I don't know, go and do something I've never done and spend money? He's like, why don't you go and like travel? I'm like, because the holidays are coming up and I have to buy gifts still.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't want to spend money. And he's like, well, you don't have to spend money. Then I'm like, gas costs money. God.
Do you want me to just walk into a field? I can do that.
Yeah, I'm like, no. I'm like, I could walk. Like, there's a track next to my house. I can go walk there if I want. I'm like, what do you want from me? And so like we just we ended it there because they thought I was getting heated. I mean, I was getting heated because they kept just telling me like, well, why don't you just not do what you want to do on your days off when it's none of our business? Just so after that conversation, my boss, who's always on his phone, he sees this. He's like, oh look, this guy rigged up what's it called? This guy rigged up a trailer for his truck to carry around his Tesla that uses solar energy to charge it while he drives. He's like, that's cool. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's pretty cool. He's like,
Yeah.
why don't cars do that? Why couldn't we just put a solar panel on the car and it just worked like that? I'm like, because it doesn't work like that. And he was like, but this guy got it to work. I'm like, no, this guy is driving his car around in the sun, and he probably has to leave it out in the sun for like, I don't know, a few days for it to charge, because it's not just one day of charge for the sun to charge up your car. And not to mention, like, you can't just put a solar panel on a car and like leave it out for a few hours and then it runs fine. I'm like, there's a lot of things going on in the car. And he's like, but this guy, he's like, oh, but I've seen it run. Why do people put it on their houses then? I'm like, they don't just run off solar energy. They use electricity, but then throw on the solar energy like during sunny days.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, but if it could run a house, it could run a car. I'm like, no, cars are different. I'm like, it has to run the engine, the AC, everything. Like, and like, how long are you gonna put this car with the solar panel outside and expect it to run? And he's like, well, you're not driving your car all the time. I'm like, it's also not sunny all the time.
Like, yeah, the major problem with that is that the solar panels aren't big enough. Like, you can do that. That's like, it's easy to, I guess it's not easy, but like, it's possible to power a house entirely with solar power forever. Long as it's like sunny enough or whatever, and you keep the panels clean. But that's because you can have a bunch of solar cells, and you can like store that power in batteries and stuff. And so, like, because people have asked, why don't electric cars have solar panels on them? Like, why shouldn't the paint like be like a solar panel? Or if you have a big wind generator on top of the car, when you go fast, the wind generator gets pushed, and then that'll generate more power for the car. And it's because people don't understand physics, and they can't do the math to figure out, like, oh, actually, that wouldn't do much. Like, the amount of power, if you had a solar panel on the roof of your car, the amount of solar energy that you would be able to capture and like put in your car is probably enough. If I'm not mistaken, I remember reading this. I think it's enough to roll up and down your windows. Yeah. That's about it. That's it, dog.
I tried to tell him, I'm like, the reason these bigger things that use solar energy is because they have like industrial sized like solar panels. And then even other coworkers was like, yeah, like when you see a stop sign with like a solar panel, that's a big enough solar panel to run the blinking lights. Mm-hmm. And he was like actually backing me, and I was like, oh God, for real?
Oh,
So like then like my boss is kind of like spiraling, like just like he kind of for people that don't know like Spanish or Tex-Mex, he got like really huitao.
Oh yeah.
Which just means like he was like, oh well, like kind of like slucked back and was like, oh whatever, just like real bad, and you could tell. And we're just like, I'm like, boss, it's okay if you like, it won't work, it's cool, like there's no way. But like he was just really upset about it, that we kind of talked him out of like why it wouldn't work. I'm not like really a scholar, so I guess that maybe like hurt him more. Like, I'm not like a smart guy, I just kind of know like something, I know that wouldn't work. Mm-hmm. So I guess that kind of like hurt him more too.
I mean, that's the thing, is like, if you sure, if solar panels were more had like better efficiency, if there was like a faster way to like capture power and then yeah, sure, those things could be possible. But I like imagine, just put it into his little brain, the if you can think of an idea for like why something should be like possible, or why something should like have been invented, should be available for people, and it's not available, the reason why is because either A, no one wants it, or B, it's probably not possible. Because the thing is, like, a lot of people also are like, oh, I bet they fucking have a cure for cancer, but it's so much more profitable to just cure it. And they just make you buy the medicine. And it's like, where that argument breaks down is rich people. Rich people die of cancer all the time. Why are rich people dying of cancer? Like, if they're hiding it, rich people would have access to it. They just would. And this is the same thing. Like, if you ever saw a car with a solar panel on the top and they were like, oh yeah, I bought this car, it was $1.3 million, but I never have to buy gas again. You'd be like, wow, I could never afford that. This is a rich person's game.
I'm like, this is a luxury car, and not just a regular luxury, like an Uber luxury car.
Yeah, this is like, you know, I don't know, 200 people on the entire earth can own one.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of buying like what's that stupid car that every rich person has?
Tesla?
Not a Tesla, the fucking one, it's like really sleek and it has the suicide doors.
Like a Lamborghini?
Yeah, Lamborghini. It would be like it's a status symbol.
Yeah, totally.
So like, it's just, if they came out with it, we would never own it.
Yeah. And like, honestly, I'll be fine with you. I'll be real with you. I'd be fine with, that's fine. Like, the fact that it exists, sure, great. But the fact that it doesn't exist, just take a guess as to like why that's the case. Just any amount of thought into if rich people, if like this exists, rich people would have it. Just fucking think.
Well, I mean, just think, like, you know, solar panels exist. You know they can power things. Do you think you're the first person who thought to do that? I'm sure that like scientists and people have thought to do that, but they just haven't figured a way out to do it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're like, it sounds easy on paper where you're like, why don't they just do this? Well, there's a dozen reasons why not.
Yeah, or like, do you know how many times people have tried that? And have you done any Google searching to see why people haven't done that, or did you just think, oh, I wonder why people haven't done this?
Yeah, like, wouldn't life be easier? Just no, fuck you. That's not how it works. Like, they've of course they've thought of it and tried it, but they just haven't made it viable. Just for a minute, just don't be an asshole.
Yeah, just like imagine, use your imagination, use the internet. It's there.
And here's my last boss story. Same night.
Mm-hmm.
He brought up this hypothetical. He was like, they were like, if the world was gonna end in a day, what would you do? I'm like, chill with my family at home. Why would I do anything else? I'd like to spend my last, I guess, day with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, you wouldn't go do anything? I'm like, what could I do in a day? I was like, what could I do? People were probably rioting and like doing all this stupid shit. I would chill with my family.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, a day is too little. What if somehow the world was gonna end in 3 days? What would you do then? Chill with my family? And they did not like that answer.
Wow.
They were like my other coworker was like, I'd probably go. I would probably go to, I don't know, with my family to Colorado, or by myself to Colorado, or I would do something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how are you gonna get there with one tank of gas? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Well, gas still exists in this scenario. I'm like, are you expecting to just get there in one drive? I'm like, it would wherever you depend on you're going, you have to drive there. And
Mhm.
I don't think if the world was gonna end, that gas station attendants would be there and pump gas for you. Uh, unless like you're gonna go and get the gas siphon thing and just siphon gas from cars left in the street.
I mean,
I'm
like, the gas attendant thing doesn't make any sense because there's no gas attendants. And
well, no, I mean
there's only two states in which that's a thing.
No, I mean like to turn on the pumps.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why they
and
wouldn't just have them on, though.
Well, I mean, and I'm like, unless like you're using you're gonna stop and use your debit card and fill up your car, but I'm like, you are people have to be rioting. It's the apocalypse.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wouldn't be on the streets. People are probably just like pulling over cars and killing people.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm like, that's why I'm gonna be safe and in my home with my family. And then the other boss is like, I'd go to Niagara Falls. I'm like, okay, well, you take your family on this death trip. I'm like, we're gonna die in 3 days. I'm like, what does it matter where you go? Are you gonna remember it when you die? I'm like,
yeah, you're gonna spend 2.5 of those days in a car.
yeah, no, you're gonna spend 2.5 of those days in a car, like probably scrounging for food on the way up.
Mm-hmm.
And then for what? Be like, Niagara Falls. Now I can die.
Yeah, we've seen it. Great. I've done, or maybe it's not that he's like, I've got to see Niagara Falls before I die, but more like, I'm gonna go to Niagara Falls and throw myself and my family off and die that way. That way, I pick my death. Kill me.
And I told him, I'm like, well, like, is it like an asteroid? Or like what's happening that we know that the Earth's gonna die, and they're like, well, it'd have to be like an asteroid, and we're just on the trajectory and there's nothing we could do. I'm like,
yeah, sure.
Then I would just chill with my family and just wait for death, because like there would be riots. I'm like, there would be like scrounging for food. I'm like, I'm not gonna go and risk my life. I'm like, what is this, a movie like the Last Days on Earth where I fucking go to the destination? I'm like, no, I'm gonna hang out with my family and just cherish the time we have left together. And they're like, oh, well, what if your mom wanted to go somewhere? I'm like, my mom's not stupid. I'm like, where would she want to go? I'm like, the only place that we want to like vacation is for my sister's birthday. We want to go to Las Vegas for her 21st. I'm like, why would we go to Las Vegas to do what? Gamble? And the apocalypse?
In the apocalypse, yes.
And like, they just couldn't wrap their head. They're like, why don't you do something like crazy? I'm like, what would I do? I'm like, what? Like, I want to spend time with the people that I love in the last like moments, and I want to chill. Like, what? Instead of like have to fight for my life out in the road. If people come and, like, I don't know, try to blow up my house while I'm here, we're gonna die anyway. What does it matter? I'm like, what is this hypothetical? Like, what do you want me to say? And like, that's the thing with them. Like, they just want to, like, they want to hear, like, these weird, outrageous things. They're, I don't know, to fucking feed their fucking, I don't know, inner things. And then they leave. And I'm sure they talk shit. They're like, oh, fuck, this guy, he's fucking boring. I'm like, what do you want me to say? Like, I'm not y'all. I like my peace. I like hanging out with my mom. I like hanging out with my family. I like hanging out at home. Just because, like, they're like, well, going back to earlier, they're like, well, why don't you go and do something on your days off? Like, I'm like, why? Like, what? Go to Corpus and do what? I don't like the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go die on the beach. Just gonna go do it.
Yeah, die on the beach. That's my long life dream. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Go to the botanical garden in Corpus? I'm like, by myself? How sad.
Yeah.
Like,
for what? I don't know. Those kind of questions are really infuriating because you're like, there's not. Basically, there's the answer that like people want you to have, and then there's like also usually people like that also have one of those like don't say this answer out loud unless you're like drunk and everybody's together and you're like, fucking. Those are the people that, if the world really was going to come to an end, if there was 3 days and the world's gonna die, that's the guy who's like, well, time to start raping people. Like, that's the guy. He's like, my whole life I've always wanted to kill someone, and I've always wanted to have sex with my like high school teacher. So I'm gonna go do that. And it's like,
I'm gonna do kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm gonna fucking molest her and then kill her after.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, it's the same thing whenever people ask, oh yeah, like you ever like you know, raped someone in your dreams? Fucking no. What?
Like,
oh yeah,
no.
it's a dream. Does it like, yeah, it's just fine.
It doesn't mean anything that I've done it. Not that I have. Not that I'm saying.
Is that what you dream about? Why?
Yeah, like what the fuck? Like, of course, people have had dreams where like they're like, oh man, my fucking celebrity crush, you know, got together with me.
Yeah.
But it's always been consensual. It's never been like, fuck, I in my dream last night, I got with the neighbor down the street, fucking, and I went into her house, broke into her house, and
into her house, and I found, and I kidnapped her. Like, you're, Jesus, like, damn, son.
Like something, I hate people. That's why I don't like talking to them, because they have these preconceived like answers, and then when I don't answer the way they like, suddenly I'm the weird man out. When I'm like, no, I don't like that. They're like, you don't like that?
Yeah.
Like, no, fucking.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, you know what I would do if I had 3 days left? Ooh, man, I would break into Best Buy and I'd steal a TV, and I would, oh boy, what wouldn't I do? I'd drive my car over the median, and I'd, if somebody cut me off, I'd just run my car into them. And if they got out of the car in a fit of road rage, I'd run them over and fucking kill them. Jesus, calm down.
Ooh, and I record it and take it with me to my grave.
Yeah, take it with me and play it on a loop. Play it on a loop while the meteor comes down. It's like, oh, it's so powerful then.
Yeah, get naked on my roof and have it on repeat and be like, I did this.
Yeah, my family's downstairs like, please come downstairs. We're all dying together. Good. I never liked you anyway.
I want to die alone. Fuck y'all. Like, why can't just I chill? Fuck. Why can't I just be in my house on my days off and not bother anyone? Just
come on, man. Just chill out.
Yeah, like, I get it. If you like to go out and do stuff, that's fine. Like, he's married and has a kid. I don't know what fantastic life he's leading. Like, as you, like, experience, like, he works with me. I know he doesn't do all these fucking fantastic things. He always tells me, he's like, I had to go to the store to buy something for my daughter's, like, school project. Like, how is that, like, so much better than me just being like, I spent the time at home and I went to the grocery store and I chilled and watched the movie. Like, is that better?
Is that better? Is that better than what I was planning on doing?
Yeah, is that better than what I do? What, like, is that better than me minding my own business at home, just doing the things that I enjoy? Going out and leading a rich, full life because I don't have a kid. Mm-hmm. Like, are you jealous that I have free time, but I'm not spending it the way you want it?
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with it. That's probably what it is.
That's what it is.
Because, like, as a parent, there are definitely, so like this weekend is a good example, right? So, my son like is in daycare because we both work from home. It would be next to impossible to have the baby in the house and still work. So he has daycare. Daycare's super expensive. But that means that Thursday, Friday, daycare was off. And then Saturday and Sunday, it was just like, you know, all of us. So it's basically 4 days of us alternating. Okay, you wake up first, like I'll feed him, give him a bottle, put him down for a nap, like and a lot, like your day is basically has to revolve around like taking care of the baby because like babies have special equipment that they need and like whatever. And so sometimes you hear like your friends be like, oh, I'm going to go watch this movie. And you're like, oh, great. I'm never going to do that. Or they're
for a
like,
couple of years.
Yeah. Or they're like, oh, we're going to go spend a holiday. We've like rented this house and we're going to go spend a holiday over at this house. And all of our friends are going to come and we're going to like hang out and just like, you know, play video games and hang out with each other. And I'm like, I would love to do that, except that like I'm positive that my baby would ruin it for all of you. So I will stay here.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want to be a dick. Even though I really want to do that, I'm not going to bring down the mood.
Mm-hmm.
Because then like you take the baby and let's say the baby is doing okay, but then you're like, okay, I got to put the baby down to sleep. Now everyone can't like be loud or laugh or like do it because then the baby might wake up.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're just like, guys, I wish I could, but you know, I can't.
And I mean, like it's, you know,
it's
fine. Like it's a choice that we made, and it's like I'm not bitter at my son for it. I'm not like mad that I made this choice or anything. It's just like this is just the stage of my life that I'm in. But I guarantee that like when this man hears, oh, so you're just gonna go home and just be there. You're just gonna fucking go home and just sit down. You're not gonna like the amount of times that I have to go home and sit down and fucking be a parent.
Like, God. Like you know, like his kid wasn't planned. So like once his kid was born, he was like, oh God, I can't do the things I liked doing. Oh God. And then when he hears like people like me and like you've told me before, like sometimes you envy my free time and that's fine. Yeah. I understand. But like he is jaded. This man is deep in the hole. Like on the outside, he's like, I love my family. I do stuff with them all the time. But then he's like me where I don't have responsibility outside of my bills. And I'm just like, nah, man, I like to just chill. I don't like going anywhere. I don't like doing stuff, mostly because like none of my friends are close by, so why would I do it by myself? I want to chill. And he's like, what? I wish I had time. Like, you're playing all these games. I can't even play a game. Like, I can't even like wake up in the afternoon if I wanted to. I'm like, damn, that sucks. Not me though. And that's what it boils down to. He is mad that I guess I'm wasting my free time potential. And it's my choice that I do that.
Man. Yeah, it's not a healthy way to live and interact with other people, to compare your life to theirs, and because the grass is basically always greener for anything, right? Like
yeah, of course.
If you're like, oh yeah, I wish that I had the kind of like whatever, like the boss position that this guy has, then you're like, oh, fucking, I got to do all this paperwork. I'm like, yeah. The most extreme version of that is having kids or not having kids, because like it alters your life forever. But like, dog, you just fucking calm down, man.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal. Like, if I had a kid, that would just mean I would be home all the time anyway. So
yeah, like, and it's like it's one of those things like, oh well, if I had money, I would be doing this, and it's like
yeah, and like we've had those discussions of like, what would you do with the lottery? I'm like, build me a house and pay off my car,
yeah,
and then probably travel like a few times. And they're like, oh, I would buy all these cars and I would do all this shit, and I'm like, why though? I'm like, that's fine, I guess, but like, not me. And they're like, but you have all this money. I'm like, yeah, I'd quit my job and live off the money.
Yeah.
And I would just do things that I like every once in a while. Like, I wouldn't be like super exorbitant. Like, I I would travel for like a month or two, like to different places, and that's about it. Then I'd come home and probably be a content creator full time, and like learn how to do it. That's what I do. I'd learn how to like properly edit videos or stuff, and then like learn how to do things on the internet, and then I would just be at home with money.
Yeah, man, I just like the amount of times that I've driven by like a lottery billboard and I've been like, okay, so the government takes 2/3 off the top, and then based off of that, I 80% of it gets put into like the stock market, and then the other 20% I can spend on houses. Like, and I'm like, basically my plan always boils down to I'm going to purchase like I'm going to have my dream house built and then hang out. And that's it. Yeah. Forever. I don't like, I'm going to work on whatever I want to work on. I'm going to stream. I'm going to play video games. I'm going to do whatever I want to with my time. But that's it. I'm not going to like,
yeah,
I'm going to go fucking purchase Whataburger. I'm going to go build a big statue or whatever.
I'm going to get me a private jet and I'm going to fly everywhere. And then I'm going to get me 4-wheelers and drive around and throw hundreds into the peasants.
Yeah.
They were even mad when I was like, I build a house on my property, and they're like, in Taft? I'm like, yeah, dude. Yeah. I'm like, and they're like, well, why don't you build it somewhere else? I'm like, because I don't want to. I'm like, my family's here. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's where I will build my house, because I'll be close to my family. And if I want to go anywhere else, well, I have the money to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
I don't have to stay there, though. I could just chill here. And it's just so lost on them. Yeah. That I'm not like them, and I think it pisses them off.
Yeah, because I mean, what they're expecting, it's because it reflects their choices on them, and it makes them feel bad about it. So whenever you're like, oh yeah, I would spend time with my family, or oh yeah, I would, I would build my house next to my family or whatever. They're like, oh yeah, no, sorry, a cool good guy here is doing all the cool good guy stuff for his family. Yeah. Oh wow, you're so much better than us, aren't you? Yeah, you're like, what?
Yeah, like I'm like, what? I'm like, this is a fake scenario. I'm not rich.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I'm just telling you what I would do. Like, why would you be mad at me? Like, I'm not gonna see y'all again because I quit this job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, literally, like, if one of us hit the lottery, like if me or them hit the lottery, it wouldn't affect me because then they do whatever they want, and what say would I have in it?
And that's one of those, like, that's also one of those jobs where, because there are sometimes I used to be like, oh yeah, like if you win the lottery, you immediately quit your job, because there's some people that are like, oh, I stay working at my job, and I'm like, I can't imagine anybody ever doing that. It's fucking stupid. But like, there's jobs that I've had that I really like the job that I have right now. I'd be like, I don't know, I'll stick around for a few more months, sure, whatever. Then if I have one bad day, I'm just fucking gone, right? Yeah. Like, that's it.
The nicest thing I have to say is I tell them, I'm like, I'd quit this job, and I'm like, but I would tell you I'm quitting and give you time to find a replacement, and then I would leave.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's the nicest thing I could say I would do. I wouldn't be like, well, later, chumps.
Yeah.
I'll do you something good. I'll give you like a month's time to find a replacement. That's good enough. It's not a hard job. Jeez.
Yeah. Just being a security guard is not a job in which you would be like, well, I want to do this for the rest of my life because I have such a good time doing it.
Yeah, and like I told him, I'm like if I won the lottery and I decided I was gonna work here still, I would be like, yeah, you're gonna leave me in the back, and if you move me to the front where I have to do work, I quit. I'll quit on the spot. Mm-hmm. I'm like, and what are you gonna do? Be mad about it? I'm fucking rich.
Yeah.
Like, you can be mad about it, but oh well.
Yeah, the amount of power that you all of a sudden get whenever you're like, oh, I don't actually need this job. I can just I just do whatever I want to. I imagine it's intoxicating.
Yeah. And like, the funny thing is, they're like, well, you can't do that. I'm like, it's not illegal for me to quit on the job and leave. I'm like, I could do
No.
that if I wanted.
Yeah.
Just this
Yeah,
isn't.
if Texas can just like if Texas can just fire you for no reason, you could just quit for no reason, and that should be equally fine.
Yeah. Like if I won the lottery, I'd never wear my hat again. I'd never wear my hair down. And the minute you tell me like, we're gonna wear a hat or cut your hair, I'm like, well, you need to find a new worker because I quit. Just that'd be my whole like that would be the one place of arrogance I would have is at work. Because like I would always they'd be like, tell me to do something. I'd be like, okay, well then I guess I quit. And they're like, oh, okay, you don't have to, okay. Just, but that would be the one like power move I would have over them.
That's like it has to feel so good to have that in your back pocket. And like I've experienced that only a few times, and it's not because I was like, oh, I could quit and like royally fuck these people over so they should like respect me. It was more like I had already quit, and then I got to like, as I was still working there, people would ask me my opinion of things that were going on, and I would just be very honest about things. I wouldn't like try to sugarcoat anything anymore. I'd be like, this is actually stupid. It's been stupid since we started it. Yeah, which like I do most of the time anyway, but there's a couple of scenes at work in which like somebody would ask me a question or ask me an opinion about something, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't get too deep into it, but then here I am just like, final 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, actually, the whole reason why I'm dissatisfied because of blah, 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 blah. Like,
and what are you gonna do? Fire me faster? I'm quitting already.
I had a conversation with my boss's boss's boss. The day, it was the week before I left. And he didn't request like a meeting with me or anything to like talk about, oh, what are the reasons why you're leaving? Like detail. Like I did have an exit interview, but he didn't like schedule one with me. Yeah. He just happened to be at the break room when I was like walking by, and he was like, hey, you're leaving like next week, right? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, do you have just like a second? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he asked like, so why are you leaving? And at this particular job, I was like, well, it seems like upper level management doesn't know how to run a software company, and they decide to let us get 80 to 90% of the way through a project and then pull the rug out from under us and decide to go work on something else. And so I don't know how I'm expected to derive satisfaction from my job or like make any forward progress whenever I know that at any moment, based off of the whims of some people that don't know anything about software, I may just have to stop doing what I'm doing. That like doesn't give me confidence to like do what I need to do, and it doesn't allow me to have fun or like invest like in this company like emotionally. Like I can't for the place that I work right now, we had a big deadline coming up, like big.
Oh, yeah,
and there were a number of times where like I wasn't asked to, but like I was like, well, I've got to stay up and I have to like look at this stuff, or like I have to like talk to this person in this other country or whatever. And like I'm managing a bunch of stuff. And I worked like during that period of time, probably 60 hours in a week, just cranking out extra hours and trying to get stuff done, which is like unheard of for me. I'm usually very, I'm very rigorous about like how much time I spend at work. Even if I work late at night, it's because I'm like, oh, well, I didn't do anything during the day or whatever. But like in this one, I was like, I'm doing way more work.
Yeah,
that's because like I care about this company. I care about like the project that I was working on. I was having a good time doing it. I wanted to make sure I didn't inconvenience anybody, and I was having like an all right time doing that. But like, I was doing that at this previous company, and we get 90% of the way to the end of this project. We're like about to launch it, and they're like, yep, we're just going to go ahead and cancel it. You can work on something else now. And I was like, you fucking what? I'm gonna what? And I was like, I gotta go look for a new job today.
Yeah.
Like that was as soon as I got told that, I said, all right, well, let me go update my resume and start putting it out there, baby.
So what a fucking power move.
Yeah. And so like, boss's boss comes up and is like, yeah, why are you leaving? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And maybe it's because like you continuously fuck over me and my coworkers. And he's like, yeah. He literally his response to that was like, yeah, that's not good. We tried to not do that, but yeah, I get it. Things have been a little tumultuous. This hasn't gone how I wanted it to go either. And like, I talked to another one of like the upper level executives that like was at a previous software company I was at, and he also said the quiet part out loud where he was like, yeah, sometimes like the CEO and the CTO just like make a bunch of decisions that I have to communicate to you as if it's a good idea when I know it's not. And I was like, oh boy, so now I know that you don't give a shit either.
What a good thing to hear.
Great.
That'll keep the workers in place.
Mm-hmm.
God, it's so fucking good. Like, but that's what power will do to you. Like, if you have the power to leave, and you can, and then you can give your opinions. You're like, I'm leaving anyway. Just like money will do that to someone at a shit job. Like, you'll start giving honest opinions to your bosses or something, like coworkers. You just won't give a shit. And if you decide you're gonna stay at that job with that power, like the most minuscule thing that got on your nerves, and they decide they want to bring it on you, you're out, baby. You have that power.
Yeah, that's it.
That's just it. And I think like that's what I want. Like, I'll do. I'll just like if I had all that money, like lottery money, and I decide to stay at my job, I would just stop giving a shit. I wouldn't worry about, oh, I better keep my hair under wraps because people don't like natural fucking long hair at work because it's not professional. Or they want me to work in the front. Fuck y'all. I like being in the back. I don't like doing anything.
Yeah.
So, and I'd
Hell
be like,
yeah.
That's just what it'd be, baby. But honestly, I wouldn't work there anymore. I'd get the money and I'd skedaddle because fuck that job.
Yeah. I don't know why you would, like, that is one of those, like I said, that particular job, I can't imagine deriving enough satisfaction from doing that would make me want to stay there as opposed to just like
anything else.
Yeah, go into like, I don't know, fucking any other, like go to any city and just hang out.
Yeah. I would turn my whole life around, quit, fuck those people, never talk to them again. I'd get like a personal trainer and work on my health, and then work on my mental health, and then travel. Like my whole life would be turned around. Like I would do cool things, and then after 2 months of like kind of getting traveling out of my system, I'd take a big sit down at my new house and just fucking chill on my huge pile of gold.
Yeah. On my golden chair that I bought.
I made it look like the Game of Thrones chair.
Yeah. Except instead of swords, it's controllers, and it's made out of gold.
Yeah, instead of controllers, it's just Twinkies and Whataburgers.
Yeah, work on your health, sit on throne of Twinkies.
Look, they're not real, so I can't eat them. So
you know what? That is true. You do have a point.
So
okay.
we are past time.
We are way out of time.
Yeah, we are way, but we had some we were. This episode was surprisingly on point.
Yeah, and you know what? We didn't even talk about Chainsaw Man. But don't worry, you'll be getting a double dose of Chainsaw Man in the next episode, because the last episode that we watched was crazy, and if you thought that was crazy, wait till you see the next one.
I think the next episode is going to be a slower episode, at least half of it, until they bring out the plot. Because we just got out of fucking the Infinity Devil or whatever it was. And I'm not gonna. I'll leave you on that cliffhanger because we'll talk about it more next episode.
Yeah, get ready because that's gonna be a good one. You could catch us doing this podcast live on Twitch if you follow us at twitch.tv/GoGetUsPod and you hit the notification. It'll send you a push notification or an email or whatever whenever we go live. So you can just come and do that.
You just come.
You could just come. No one's gonna stop you. Yeah. And but if you don't like that, or if you can't catch it on time, you can also watch it as a replay on YouTube, where all of our podcasts go live. But at the same time, if you decide, you know what, I hate Google, I want to give all my money to Apple because I'm one of those people, you can also just listen to the podcast as it goes live. It's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Spotify, it's on basically any other podcatcher.
Yeah, anything you listen to podcasts on, we're on it. Just look. It's not hard. Our name's right there. Go Gettas. Just type those string of letters into your search bar for your podcatcher, and we're there, baby.
We're there. I just did it. We're there. I'm looking.
I'm looking at all the things. And I want you to rate us, like, just thumbs up and likes and follow, because we have good talks about things.
Yeah, we're good mihos.
We are the best mihos. Jeez. God. Fuck. So, like I do at every end of the podcast, I am going to tell you what you can do.
Don't say go fuck yourself. Don't say it.
It's not this time.
We have to save that for the last episode.
It's in the last. Go fuck yourself. No, I'm sorry you put it in my head. So what I'm going to tell you to do is, I want you to take your shitty coworkers that you can't stand, and I want you to throw them into a pit full of snakes and tarantulas, and then close the door behind you, take a big strong look at your family, and
go get them. Man, I like that in your scenario, it's a pit with a door. There's a door to this pit.
I was gonna like further explain. I was like, I want you to like put a rock, like Indiana Jones, like when he's running from the fucking rock, and there's like pits and stuff. But that was too long. This is just a man-made pit.
Well, here you go. Here, how about this? You live in an abandoned Russian missile silo, and you just throw them into the silo. Easy.
It's easy as that. Just like if you live near a sinkhole, just go and take them. Be like, look at the size of that baby, and just push them in.
Yeah, and just build a house next to it. That way, you can have a door. Walk in, close the door, and there you go. Yeah, now you've got a sinkhole full of snakes, tarantulas, and coworkers.
It's easy as that, and then look at your family as the sun sets behind you with just a stern smile.
And the cops lead you out into the squad car.
And you ride off into the sun, and your family is left there just crying and waving.
Crying as the meteor comes down to kill them. Bye!